Whoa, whoa, whoa. It is October already? I haven't done a podcast in a while. Hello, everybody. I am SimplySuperDave, and this is another episode of Staying Super with me, SimplySuperDave. Pretty obvious. It's all in the title. But anyway, I'm coming to you live from the great state of Louisiana here in these crazy United States on this crazy planet spinning out of control in this crazy universe that we call life. And I'm glad you're here. And really got a few things on my mind. And, going to kind of change the way I approach things a little bit. I've tried to listen to I don't like to listen to myself. In short little bursts maybe, but overall I can't. So to expect anyone to listen is a privilege and an honor that you would take your time out to even try to make out what I'm saying half the time, because I jump from topic to topic so much. But that's how I feel like I see a lot of the connections in life, because I do jump from topic to topic so much, and I find the connection and why it pushed me into that thought. And I love the train of thought, and I love talking about it. And I was just sitting here thinking about the politics and the way our country is run. I want you to follow a trip with me here. All right, let's just pretend that the government is a corporation. All right, just imagine that, okay, if you can. Now think about this. Every day you go to work, right? You're getting paid to forget about your fucking life for however amount of time you want to sacrifice to a job that you probably would never ever want to do anyway. Right? Not saying you don't love your job, not saying you don't have a good job, blah, 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 blah. That's all give or take depending on who you are. But you don't wake up every day and think, that's what I want to go do. But it's the paycheck. That's what stimulates you to do it, because you want to provide what you have. When you look around you, you're looking at your job, because your job provided everything that is around you, or at least someone's job is. And at that point, you got to appreciate what you do, okay? Because a lot of people I get are their selves, their personable selves at their jobs, which works if you're a friendly person. But if you're an asshole, you're going to have to fake it for 8 hours. And why? Because it's not your time. You're being paid to sacrifice your time for them. Okay, now you're working for a corporation of some sort, whether it's in the food industry, the service industry, or whatever, or you're off the books just making cash. Which you're a limited time, my friend, just letting you know. But let's get to the point. You get up every day, you go to work for one of these corporations, right? So for 8 hours a day, or let's just say 8 hours a day, let's say 6 or 4, because they like to do that to a lot of people, little breakdown shifts, so they don't have to give you a break. Let's say 6 hours a day, because let's face it, folks, a lot of people out there have multiple jobs. And why? Because things are more expensive. Now, who sets the price on all these products and things that we buy, the services? Let's say everything, because everything has gone up. Usually if there's a supply and demand problem, it usually affects one industry of some sort, or it's something that's just involved in the making of that product or this kind of product line, like detergent, for example. If there was a problem and all detergents couldn't get a certain thing, blah, 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 blah. And people will point out, well, there's been plenty of problem ships at the sea. Man, what about a load of bullshit? Look, I'm not saying any of the things that they point out are not true. I'm not saying that, because I agree. Because they're legit stories. You can go look up and find out, yeah, there are ship tankers out there, blah, 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 blah. It's a chain effect, thing, blah, blah, blah. But you hear these companies, record profits. You're making more money than you did last year every year. At some point, that breaks, right? And I'm not saying it's broke yet. That's the scary part. We still got a ways to go. These corporations aren't going to stop, because the idea of it all is for them to get you to sacrifice as much time as you got to spare so you can make as much money to spend on all their products. You're just the middleman. You're like a battery that keeps the whole thing going, you know? And since wages don't seem to have any chance of catching up with the cost of living, it's only getting further apart. Then that forces you to sacrifice more of your time, because for one, you're not getting paid enough from the 6 hours you work a day to cover what you would need. So you need more. If you ain't got a good paying job with at least 6 figures in it, then you're having a tough time. And the lower you go in that that 5 figure, 5 figures, baby, 5 figure column, well, pick the biggest finger you can pick, because that's what they're fucking you with. You are struggling. The middle class is getting crushed right before your very eyes. You're living through a very historic moment in America, where the people that really kind of call the shots, it's really being pushed, big old black and white, rich versus poor kind of thing. They want the middle class to be what the upper class used to be. It's like they're just a full separation, and it baffles me that we haven't stood up together yet, because they have. Now that we're all wide awake and you have all this fucking information at your hands, whether it stays on the internet, gets banned, if you get to access it and think about it and see the big show that's going on right in front of us, that you're participating in, that you are helping continue on and on, feed into every news story, wake up, this is the tone of the day, this is what's going on in the world, here's the corruption, but this is what we're doing, you have no proof of it, blah, 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 blah. The attitudes, the way the politicians act like they are a corporation. Just another business that controls a lot more business. Actually, it's like a big tool being used by what's really going on. J.D. Rockefeller said it best. He wanted a nation of workers, not thinkers. And that was over 100 years ago. And so here is the very product of it. The society you are standing in, looking around, observing, absorbing through your little box in your hand, or on the big screen in front of you, or however, the little machine in your ear that plays everything that you probably wouldn't have thought about, because you would have thought about something else. People are pushed to being good, but it's pretty obvious just by watching some of the ways that people talk in these interviews, and just the straight out being called out by someone else, and they just won't see it. And there are leaders acting like they are above us. This country was established for the flip effect, for the people to control the government. And a lot of people are starting to remember that. And I hope you do too. Because you don't have to do a revolution. No, you just all have to stand up together and stop participating. You can shut down the government. Actually, I think that might actually happen if they don't get a Speaker of the House here pretty soon. I think they may have already by now. I really have just given up on caring. It's a shit show. It really is. It's a power struggle within. It's watching people in their own parties. I have to admit, as much as the more I watch of Donald Trump and what he went through as president, and I have to admit, if it isn't, I was horrified by Trump being voted in. Okay? I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for Biden either. Fuck them both. And Hillary, fuck her too. I haven't voted for either party in the last 4 elections. And I feel good about it. I sleep better at night. Because I know I didn't contribute to either one of these toward parties. But Trump was an outsider. And watching that whole thing play out from a hater to not exactly a supporter, but he's right. I hate to fucking admit it, but he's right. You know how much pride I had to swallow? I watched videos prior to the election about how I just thought he was a joke and blah, blah, blah. And I watched how my words, I had to eat those. I had to eat them. He's one of the best presidents we've had in the last, I think, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was probably the last president where you felt positive effect in your wallet and in your bank account. That was the last one I had. And then Trump, those years, those 2 or 3 years, it felt like it was getting better, and then 2020 happened. Now, I don't know what would have happened if he would have stayed in office. I think we would be better off now than we were, and I think he would have resolved a lot of the conflicts because he doesn't work for the corporation. You get what I'm saying? He was just lucky enough and rich enough and smart enough to know that he didn't need to depend on their business. Regardless of what you think about him, that is fact. He was an outsider that got put in a position, regardless of how he got there, doesn't matter. He did the job better than anyone else in the last 20 plus years. And we didn't get into a fucking world war or a conflict, which I thought for sure would happen. No, as soon as Biden gets back in office, and it ain't him. Fuck Biden. I don't give a shit about him. The government, fuck the Democrats. They're both the same, Republican and Democrat. The government, the business, the corporation took back control. And it was back to war, which is the number one money-making thing they can do because it builds the military complex up. Now, I love having a military. I'm not knocking the military. I think we invest in military. But you don't need to go outside our borders to start conflicts for political interests so you can make money, because anything political is just a business transaction. Forget politics. It's a business transaction because they're a corporation. And they're running they're running off our money. The money you make and earn, the money you spend and put back into it, regardless of what corporation you work for. You are a slave of a 100-year-old product of an elite group led by a man named Rockefeller, who bought the education system, bought the medical system, re-educated both a whole, 4 or 5 generations worth of people? 6? Going on 10, really. 8. I see at least 5 in there. 5 generations of people, solid, re-educated. To be workers, not thinkers. Which is why I do the podcast. Because hopefully after you get through listening to all this rambling shit I do sometimes, you'll see the reason why I see the connection. Reason why politics are important to me, not because I care about Republican Party or a Democratic Party or your way of life or my way of life. I don't care about any of it, including my way of life. I don't. I care more about the fact that you have an opportunity to live whatever fucking life you want to. That is a thing to me. The choice. I support choice because nobody else gets to tell you what choice to make. And no one else deals with the consequences of your choices but you. And I'd be damned if I have to suffer the consequences of a choice I did not want to make. We live in a society where you have that. You are forced in positions to make choices you don't want to make, but at least you have a choice you got to make. Being forced in a position where you have to sacrifice, make that choice. More of your time so you can make more money to pay basic amenities in life. And I'm talking about groceries, rent, bills. I'm not talking about luxuries. I'm not talking about Xboxes and getting your nails done or going to a football game. I'm just talking about life. I don't know what existent plane that people live in that I see on TV, vacations, Disney Worlds, and stuff like that. I just don't see where they have that time. And it eats at me. Makes me feel like I'm not doing enough because I don't have that. Fight Club is my number 2 top movies of all time. If you have not seen that film, you do not know what I'm talking about. Every now and then you just got to let go and slide. And remember that we really, unless we all stand up together, nothing's going to change. I keep telling you, the easiest way to do it is step in that voting booth and turn your backs on them. And stand up for yourself. And do what JFK has begged for you to do. Ooh, there comes the train. Kick the Johnny Cash song in. But do what JFK begged for you to do back before they shot and killed him right in front of everyone. We're going to let the train roll through. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? I think I flipped that. Because your country needs you. Your country is an entity. Your country provides you the choice, the freedom, the liberty, the justice. And all that has been taken away from us. But with the illusion that you get to pick up every day, go do something you love to do, and you get paid handsomely for it, and we'll take care of everything. That is codependence. That is not independence. Wake up, folks. Come with me. Stay super. Check out all the podcasts. There is over 100. We're almost to 130. And I don't make them as often because, like I said in a lot of the previous ones, I do not like to repeat myself. Even though I do stick on a topic that I care a lot about. But if you listen to them all, you'll understand how everything I just said makes a lot of sense. Keep your bubble tight. Keep it full of energy and keep it positive. Not saying negative ain't going to be in there, but if you have more positive than negative, you can deal with the negative a lot more easier. Everybody kind of keep that balance. Don't rock the boat. Whatever you got to do, just remember it's all about how you deal with everything. Nobody can ruin your day but yourself. It's how you handle everything. Fake it till you make it. And fuck what everybody else thinks. You got to be happy. But you also have to be very self-aware that you don't know it all. And you never will. And then when somebody says something that's right, but it's someone that you hate, don't let that pride eat you. Swallow that pride. And support it. We gotta let life be as personal as we want to be treated. If we were in the opposite situation, that anyone that stands in front of us that thinks differently. To be treated fairly. Open-mindedly. And all I see is a lot of closed-minded people that just judge other people in their entire lives, whether or not they wear a mask or not. Isn't it pretty awesome that we get that option? I think it is. Sometimes I want to wear a mask. I never do. I didn't like doing it, but it was cool sometimes. Sometimes I enjoy it. I have reasons why I enjoy it. I like privacy. But I like the idea that if I wanted to wear one tomorrow, I could. I think that's a pretty awesome choice. Anyway, folks, remember, love and laughter is the only thing that conquers hate and fear. And we all need a lot of love and laughter right now. Because if you really look around at all the conflict in the world, and you pay attention to the people, nobody wants to fight. It's all about business. Just corporations exchanging money with human lives and your slavery and your sacrifice of time. Turn your backs on them in the voting booth. That's the best step I can offer you. Other than that, it's going to get to a point where a lot of people are going to get frustrated, and then it becomes real world shit. And we don't want that. I think we have a chance. For the first time in human history with the internet, the whole world's connected. It can either be tilted to the evil side or the good side. And let me tell you, the people of this planet, of this country, are on the good side. There's very few that hold that fate in our hands, and they're crushing it. We got to turn our backs on them. We got to remember that we could change history by making history. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. I love everybody. Even my enemies, even the people that hate me. They all contribute to who I am today. And life is grand, even with all the problems I'm juggling right now. And I'm dealing with a lot. But I'm no different than you. Stay super out there, folks. You don't know how much you're needed right now, and how much your country needs you.